Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm really excited for today's video. I'm going to be doing my updated version of the If I Could Only Choose One tag that was created a few years ago by Kelly Gooch. I will have her channel linked below. I know she just did her updated version for 2021, so I'll have her 2021 video linked down below as well. And I will have my previous years linked down below as well. My answers have changed pretty significantly this year as compared to the previous years. And I've also decided this year that in each category, for example, like bronzer, blush, and highlight, I'm including one of the powder category and one of the like cream and liquid category, which I haven't done in years past, but my preferences changed pretty significantly over the course of the last year. And if you're more of a powder type of girl, I want to give you a powder option, and if you're more of a liquid and cream type of a gal, then I want to give you a liquid and cream option. So if you are interested in seeing my answers for the If I Could Only Choose One tag, stay tuned. First, if you have yet to subscribe to my channel and you love project planning content, or you just like to chit chat about makeup, I would love if you would consider subscribing before moving on. And other than that, let's just jump into the video. All right, you guys, it is very, very noisy today. They are currently doing snow removal on the streets outside, and I've waited so long for them to be done, but I don't think they're gonna finish today even. So if you're noticing a lot of background noise, that is what it is. If you have not watched one of these tag videos before, I'm not necessarily giving you my tippity top holy grail favorite from each category. I'm saying that if I could only choose to keep one of each product in each makeup category, this is the one I would choose. So for example, like the primer category, I chose one that would work for me all year round, not something that's solely hydrating but not gonna work for me like in the summertime, if that sort of makes sense. So let's jump right into it, starting with the primer category. You guys know how much I love my First Aid Beauty primers. And what's funny is every single year, my answer for this category, I believe, has changed, but it's just changed from one First Aid Beauty primer to another. So the primer that I'm choosing this year is the Ultra Repair Hyaluronic Hydrating Primer. And the reason that I've decided to choose this primer, or the reason that I chose this primer, is because this is really hydrating. So it's gonna be really nice for like the fall winter time for my skin when it is feeling a little bit more dehydrated, or at least a little bit more dry. But this also offers a really beautiful glow to the skin. So if I'm not wanting to go in with foundation, I could put this on and then put concealer on, and it's gonna offer me a really beautiful glow. And I also feel like this offers a nice tack to the skin as well. It offers a bit of a grip, whereas some moisturizing primers don't necessarily offer that extra grip. I feel like this one does. So if I could only choose to keep one primer at this point in time, it would be the First Aid Beauty Ultra Repair Hyaluronic Hydrating Primer. The foundation category was really, really tough for me, but ultimately I landed on the Giorgio Armani Neo Nude Foundation. And the reason I selected this is because this is something that I feel like could really be manipulated for any occasion. So if I'm wanting something a little bit more light coverage in the summertime, I can definitely sheer this out. But if I want to build this to a more medium to full coverage, I can do that as well. And it still holds that like natural luminosity that just gives like the healthy glow, gives the skin a healthy glow, but still kind of looks more natural, kind of still looks like your skin. I'm just a huge fan of this foundation in general, so if I could only keep one, it would definitely be this guy. For the concealer category, it had to be my Kosas Revealer Concealer. What I love about this concealer is it is super hydrating underneath the eyes, but still offers a good amount of coverage. Usually I feel like you kind of have to take one or the other out of those two. Like you're either gonna get like hydrating but not much coverage, or you're gonna get a lot of coverage but it's gonna be a little bit more drying underneath the eyes. This really gives you the best of both worlds. It's also a really thin consistency and texture, so it still feels nice and lightweight underneath the eyes. It never feels heavy, and every concealer creases on me, but I noticed that because this one is so thin, the creases don't look as defined as some of my other concealers. So definitely the Kosas concealer would be the one that I would keep if I could only keep one of my concealers. Okay, for the powder category, I decided to keep a loose powder rather than a pressed powder, because I do feel like if I am wanting to really set my makeup or set my foundation or whatever it might be, I feel like I get more out of a loose powder than I do a pressed powder. So the powder that I selected was this one from Glossier. This is their Wowder. This is my second jar of this. I'm a huge fan of this. This is nice and lightweight. If you are more oily skinned, I don't necessarily know that this is going to do enough for you. I've never had oily skin, so I honestly wouldn't know. But for me and my dry skin, this does not dry my skin out. It still lets my skin breathe, and it also still allows my skin to look like skin. It doesn't completely take away the life out of my skin like some powders do. It's a really nice breathable loose powder, but still does a nice job of locking my makeup into place. So I'm a huge fan of this one, definitely the one I would keep. Moving on to the bronzer category, like I said, I'm gonna offer you a powder as well as a cream. So for my cream, I forgot to mention the Tarte I have the shade Breezy. I forget what this is called, but I forgot to mention this in my 2020 favorites. Please don't judge that there's brush hairs in my bronzer right now. Don't judge me. What I absolutely love about this bronzer is it's more of a neutral tone. So the tone just works really well for me, and it's such a creamy, easy product to work with, very beginner friendly, very easy to use whether you want to use your finger or a brush or a sponge. It's just really easy to apply, really easy to blend out, and looks super natural on the skin. So if I could only choose one, it would be the Tarte for a cream. On the more expensive end for my powder bronzer, I couldn't choose anything other than my Charlotte Tilbury airbrush bronzer. I just love this. I have mine in the shade 2. What I love about this is that it's a more buildable bronzer, so I can layer this without it looking too heavy and without it starting to look like I rubbed Doritos on my face, which I mean, you guys know I love bronzer. I love self-tan. I love a splotchy self-tan. I just like to be bronzed. So having a buildable bronzer is definitely a better option for me, because I just layer and layer and layer without thinking, and then before you know it, it literally looks like I got to the end of a bag of Cheetos or Doritos and like shoved my head in to eat all the crumbs. Not the best look. For my liquid blush option, I had to go with the Charlotte Tilbury Glowgasm blush in the shade Peachgasm. Now you could use this as a like blush topper, or even highlight, but I really like this as a blush topper. And I also am a huge fan of the Pinkgasm shade, but I wanted to go with Peachgasm. I don't know why. I just did. Peachgasm, I feel like it universally, like year-round, is a shade that I wear more often than I would Pinkgasm. But now that I think about it, I'm not necessarily sure that that's true. Regardless, I'm going with Peachgasm, and it's crazy that I'm including this as something that I would choose if I could only choose one, because a couple of years ago when I first purchased this, I talked about this in like makeup products I regret buying, makeup products that I don't think are worth the money, etc. I've completely changed my mind on that. And then for the powder blush, it had to go to Buxom Seychelles. This is such a beautiful nude neutral blush, and I love a good just nudie blush. It'll match pretty much any look that I want to pair it with. It makes me look extra bronzed in the summertime. It's a beautiful blush formula that isn't matte but isn't super luminous. It's this beautiful sort of satin, just such a good beautiful formula. You guys know I've raved about this blush on my channels basically since this released. I'm a huge fan, and I couldn't be without this. For highlight, I also went with the wand formula from Charlotte Tilbury for my liquid highlight. I went with the shade Pillow Talk. I only own the Pillow Talk highlighter. I want to get Spotlight. As well, but I definitely would keep this. It's just such a user-friendly, easy formula to work with. You just dab it onto your cheeks, blend it out. It's so user-friendly. It also offers a good amount of intensity as well. Like, you can blend it out to be more subtle, or you can build it up to be more intense pending your preferences. So this would be the liquid highlight I would keep. And then I actually surprised myself with this one. So in years past, I've always selected Becca Rose Quartz as my highlighter, but I'm actually going with Bobbi Brown Pink Glow. And the reason I'm going with this is because this is just a little bit more, like, matches me more year round. It's a little bit less warm than Becca Rose Quartz, and honestly, I'm just obsessed with this. The more I've owned this, the more I've fallen in love with this. Because this has a waffle pan, you can't necessarily see like that I've hit pan, but I definitely have. I've come to realize that it's a lot less exciting to hit pan on baked products because sometimes you can't necessarily tell. This morning I just hit pan on my Hourglass Luminous Light powder, and I actually did notice that, but recently I depotted my Hourglass blush in Mood Exposure, and I like had major pan on that without even realizing. I can see the waffle in this. So I definitely have pan on this, and I didn't realize that this is available in a full, like, larger size. For some reason, I thought this was a limited edition mini that they only sold around the holidays, but I absolutely would pick this up if I finish this, and maybe my goal will be at some point to roll this into my project pan and finish this little mini this year, because I definitely would want to own this in the larger size. Okay, for my makeup setting spray, this is newer to my collection, but I have been loving this ever since I first tried this. This is the Milk Hydro Grip Set and Refresh Spray. What I love about this spray is that it does a really nice job of locking your makeup into place, but it also offers a beautiful glow to the skin without being like too glowy. It's not as glowy as like the Luminous Dewy Skin Mist from Tatcha or the Pixie Glow Mist, but it offers this beautiful, subtle glow to the skin that I'm all about. I love glowy skin, so this is definitely like my favorite right now, and the one that I would keep if I could only choose one. The Urban Decay All Nighter, I love that locks my makeup in, but it definitely doesn't offer a glow to the skin like this one does, so this is the one I would keep. I decided to include an eyeshadow primer, and I'm not sure if I've done that in the past because I really haven't used eyeshadow primer. I started using it kind of like midway through the year in 2020, but if I could only keep one eyeshadow primer, I would keep the KVD Beauty Shake Primer. This I love because it doesn't add texture to my lids like some other primers do. The Urban Decay Primer Potion is almost too thick, and it can make my eyelids look really dry and textured, which I don't love. This is such a thin consistency. I just love this one. So if I could only keep one eyeshadow primer, it would be this one. For my palette, do you guys have a guess? I believe I said this one last year, and I had to go with the ABH Jackie palette again. The reason being, this is something that I can do really fast, easy, simple, work appropriate looks with, but then if I feel like playing around with color, maybe on the weekends, I can do that too. It's just kind of an all-encompassing palette. It has some of my favorite champagne shades in my entire collection, and also some of my favorite warm browns. It also has a green. You guys know I love green shadows. So it really had to be this one because I don't have another palette in my collection that really checks all of the boxes that this palette does. So if I could only keep one, it'd be the Jackie palette. And then finally for mascara, I don't currently own this one in my collection, but if I could only keep one mascara, it would be the Ilia Limitless mascara. I really like to layer and sort of cocktail my mascaras. Usually I have like 2 or 3 open at a time, and I layer all 3 of them. Usually I have one for length, volume, and separating. So if I really only could keep one, I find that the Ilia Limitless mascara does the most of those 3 than any other mascara that I've tried. I feel like my lashes would be lacking the volume that I would be looking for, but in terms of like separation and length, I definitely would be getting more than what not more, but I definitely would be getting what I want and need from my mascara, and then I could build it up for a little extra volume. So if I could only keep one mascara, it would definitely be the Limitless. But after that, that is going to conclude today's video, talking about all of the products that I would keep in my makeup collection if I could only keep one in each category. I would love to know your guys' answers down below in the comments. Other than that, thank you guys so much for sticking around to watch today's video and for supporting my channel as you guys always do. I love you guys so much, and I will catch you in my next video. Bye.